Welcome to Beyond Vows Veils, your luxury wedding experience. Our podcast, I feel, is a treasure trove of inspiration and insight for newly engaged couples. Join us as we have captivating stories, expert insight, and real wedding experiences that you can listen and learn from. Welcome back to Beyond Vows Veils. Thank you so much again for joining me each week to listen, learn, and discover more ways that you can make more informed decisions on your wedding planning journey. So if you're a bride that's in the midst of figuring out your design and specifically are really curious on how you can repurpose, reuse, enhance the floral aspect of your wedding weekend, this is going to be a really great podcast episode for you. Today, we're diving into the vibrant world of wedding florals with an exceptional entrepreneur who has taken the industry by storm since 2020. Joining us is Johnny, who's one of the brilliant minds behind the Floral Way. Based in Orlando, Florida, this dynamic duo, Johnny and Jacob, are renowned for their stunning floral art pieces that mix colors, styles, and techniques to create unforgettable moments. Their commitment to impeccable taste and exquisite quality sets them apart, and they always go the extra mile to ensure every botanical blessing is perfect. So whether you're in the midst of planning your dream wedding or simply love beautiful blooms, you're in for a treat. So let's dive into the world of florals with the Floral Way. All right, everyone, I have Johnny here with the Floral Way. We are so blessed to have him join our podcast to talk all things floral and just share his talents with us. So welcome, Johnny.
Thank you so much. Well, it's just me today. Jacob couldn't make it, but as many of you should know, it's Johnny and Jacob all the time, but it's only Johnny today. So thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much. I'm glad that we were able to take some time. So I definitely want to brag a little bit about the Floral Way, but who better to do that than you? So tell me a little bit about Floral Way, like how you got started, what's your process, just for the people who are just tuning in.
Amazing. Yeah, we are a full production company that specializes in floral and event design. Our team combines creativity, passion, and attention to detail to bring, the client's vision to life. It could be, an intimate gathering, a grand scale wedding, or a corporate event, or, you name it, any celebration. We work closely with our clients to ensure every detail reflects, their lifestyle, their style and personality. And, we just commit to excellence and innovation with every event. We actually started back in 2020, right after COVID. And the plan was just, having a cute little shop for, floral arrangements and plants, because we love plants, even though I kill them all the time.
Yeah, me too.
I like to think, I like them and love them. But yeah, that was the main, plan for us. But it started to evolve to, events. So I would say our very first big event was back in 2022. And after that, we were like, okay, there's no coming back. We're not doing little arrangements anymore. This is what we love. So yeah, that would say, it's been a roller coaster, and we're super, grateful and thankful for all the things that we've had and we've been part of for the last 4 years, I would say. So.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like you're really humble with that response, because anybody that goes on social media right now and checks you out, I mean, you're doing some pretty awesome work, I would say. It's very unique. And I think the approach is definitely different than just a floral centerpiece. I think it's very much artistic, in my opinion.
We try to bring in that, it's what I tell everybody, like you could have a white and green wedding, like that's very classic and timeless, but you have to give it that twist and make it custom and special for every client. And also we like to make each event different. We like to bring in new elements, even though like it could be a candle holder or something that it feels, special and different, and it doesn't look like we've been doing it in the past. So I tell, Jacob, my business partner, all the time, I like to reinvent every 3 months. I'm like, okay, what's new? Like, what can we bring new that's not something that we've been doing for the past, 6 months? So I think that has definitely helped us to, I don't know how to say it, maybe get popular.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely think like having that edge is really important. And I
Yeah.
think that is definitely what sets you guys apart. I know that we recently were collaborating on a job that,
Yeah.
we're not collaborating on right
Yeah.
now. But when we were doing that initial concept and like mood boarding and talking about it, I feel like the conversation was just so fluid. And the one thing I really appreciated from our time, even during that process, was that and this is for anyone that's listening right now, if you're a bride and you're kind of in that design phase, having someone that can really support you in cultivating what that design is, because I feel like a lot of brides these days will look at Pinterest or something on Instagram and they'll be like, I want this. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I feel like you actually take the time to say, okay, like what about this specific photo do you actually
Yeah.
like?
Yeah.
And having someone like that is so critical.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also believe that, every event should be as unique as the individual hosting it. So, we take our time to understand your vision, your style, and preferences so we can, craft custom designs that,
Yeah.
perfectly align with our clients' desires. And, like our designers, like they bring a wealth of creativity and experience to every project. So we're constantly exploring like new trends and techniques and ensuring, our designs are fresh, innovative and tailored to, each event. Because as I said it before, like you can do an all white wedding, but you have to find and somehow make it special for that client. So it doesn't look like the same, all white wedding over and over again. So yeah, I think that that's very important
Yeah,
for
absolutely. And I will say, like, obviously our company has worked with a lot of design crews and things
yeah,
like that who are all wonderful. I think when it comes specifically to someone who really knows their craft, when it comes to using, how do I say, like a living item to
yeah,
incorporate into the event,
yeah.
whether that be a plant or a floral, I feel like your team definitely like has that in the bag. Can you share with us like a little bit about maybe some of your care that you take with the florals to even prepare them for events? Because I get brides that ask us a lot. We're in Florida, we're dealing with the
Yeah.
hot, humid craziness weather. Like, how do you even make sure that florals like look good day of? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe there's like a method behind it, or because I think that's always a concern for brides with outdoor functions in
Yeah,
Florida.
absolutely. I mean, dealing with the Florida sun, outdoor functions can be challenging,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to maintaining the freshness and beauty of, floral arrangements. I would say
Mhm.
our approach is, and, ensuring the longevity of our floral designs.
Mhm.
We carefully select the flowers, that we know they're gonna be okay under the heat and the sun.
Sure.
And I would say hydration techniques, it's very important to like keeping the flowers hydrated is
Mhm.
crucial. Like
Mhm.
either using water tubes, floral
Right.
foam, and other hydration techniques to ensure
Mhm.
the flowers stay fresh throughout the
Mhm.
event.
Definitely.
Also, like we schedule the setup of floral arrangements as close to the event time as possible to
Mhm.
minimize the sun exposure before the event begins.
Okay.
So I think that's important. I mean, most flowers can last from 4 to 6 hours outdoors if properly cared, and I think this is typically sufficient for
Yeah.
the duration of most events. But yeah, I mean, I would say water. That's
Yeah.
the answer. Like,
Definitely.
you have to keep
Water
them
for sure.
hydrated, and also you have to be smart with your floral selections because like if you're gonna have a ceremony that's outdoor at 4 p.m. on
Mhm.
September, which is usually pretty hot,
Mhm.
like I would not recommend using sweet peas, for
Mm.
example. That's a very
Mhm.
delicate flower, so just be smart about your options and decisions you make when it comes to choosing your flowers for an outdoor
Yeah.
event, which in this
Yeah.
case could be a ceremony or something else. Cocktail hour could be too.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm curious on your take because obviously I'm like nervous to ask a florist this. Like, what's your take on using anything faux? Are you just like ick? Absolutely not, or like,
Well,
what's your thought?
I'm not gonna say we haven't used that before because we have,
Sure.
but like what I tell my clients all the time, if you can touch it, it can be fake.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
I would suggest just keeping either silk florals or fake florals or artificial flowers or greenery just for ceiling installations, like, because there's no other way that you would do. Well, you can use, real flowers too, but it's also, they could get wilted. It takes time to, set that up. So basically, you would do that the day before the event,
Mhm.
and then by next day, everything would be wilted and dead. So, for ceiling installations, I would say I would highly recommend using silk, but when it comes to centerpieces or something that you can touch and feel like from,
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah. Okay. No, I appreciate that. That's actually very helpful.
There's a misunderstanding, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure you have, heard about this.
Mhm.
Uh, Sometimes people, the clients tend to think if we use silk flowers is, more cost effective, when in reality, I would say is the opposite.
Okay.
Uh,
It's good to know.
so, well, it all depends on how you see it, but yeah, in my personal recommendation,
Mhm.
uh, I would rather stick with real flowers.
Why do you feel like there isn't a big cost difference between faux and floral or faux and fresh, I guess, when it comes down to it? Is it just because it's still very labor intensive and obviously,
Yeah, and also it's never the same. Like,
Mhm.
having the beauty of a centerpiece on your table with real flowers, it doesn't hit the same as, a centerpiece made out of silk flowers.
Oh yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah, I would just say, like, as long as I personally think that we've never done a centerpiece that has had artificial, maybe once with orchids.
Mhm.
Um, but sometimes you can find yourself like trying to maneuver with the budget you have. So you might have
Right.
to. So it all depends on the case scenario that you may have, and yeah, I would still recommend staying away from them.
Yeah,
But
100%,
yeah,
definitely.
but
I was
yeah, no,
thinking more like if we have a bride and she's doing a month up outdoors and she's got like a ceiling effect that she wanted to do
yeah,
with
for that
floral.
kind of things, yeah,
Yeah.
I would say so. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Okay. That
totally
really is definitely
acceptable, and
helpful.
yeah,
And so then I'm also going to ask, because this gets asked for me all the time with brides, what is the likelihood? And I guess more, I'm talking about brides who are going to have a ceremony that's like an hour plus, right?
yeah.
Outdoors. What's the likelihood that you could even reuse the floral used at the ceremony and incorporate that into evening functions? Is that a good idea? Is that even possible?
Yeah, I mean, reusing florals from one event to another is, I would say, a topic that many couples consider, and it can be, practical and cost effective.
Mhm.
Of course, I would say there are benefits and limitations of reusing florals.
Mhm.
Uh, I mean, I would say it's starting with the benefits, cost savings. Like, reusing
Sure.
florals can significantly reduce the cost, especially for like high-end blooms or larger arrangements.
Mhm.
Uh, that would be highly recommended. We usually, like, I would say 90% of the time we repurpose florals from ceremony to reception, like either the aisle markers,
Mhm.
centerpieces,
Mhm.
and whatever backdrop we do for the altar, maybe for, I don't know, the band stage.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, we're totally flexible when it comes to do that. Um, Another factor that I would say that is very important, because usually for repurposing florals, you would do it during cocktail hours, so you have to be super quick.
Yeah.
So that's something that you have to, like, talk to your planner and to your client. We've had
Mhm.
times where we had to have, like, an hour and a half of cocktail hour, because
Mhm.
the piece was so big that we needed the extra time. And you could also find yourself with a little problem that's, families taking picture with the beautiful flowers, and you're like, the time is, clocking, so I
Right.
have to, like, take.
Move.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you could find yourself with, like, different things happening when repurposing, but it's 100% doable. And I recommend it when, to make the budget and cost
Yeah.
effective, and help the client to enjoy the flowers for a little bit more uh,
Yeah.
of the time they're going to be there.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. I definitely think that it is all dependent on timeline. So before brides like get so excited and whoever you're working with, you're like, I want to reuse my floral. Like, know your timeline, like Johnny mentioned, because if your ceremony is like literally flowing into cocktails, might not make sense for you. But if you have some downtime between your ceremony and your next occasion, talk to your professional about it and see if that's even viable. And
Right.
also, like, back to what you said about time of year too, like if you're having a wedding and you're like in the dead heat of the summer, maybe your florals may not be as viable to reuse as you would if you were in, a cooler time of year. So like those things probably all would factor in, I would imagine.
Absolutely. So I would say, in conclusion, reusing florals can be a great option for cost
Yeah.
savings and sustainability, but it requires, careful planning and consideration of the factors, we just mentioned. So yeah.
Right. Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
Curious on your take, just in terms of florals. Another question I get all the time is just seasonal. Do you ever like pick your floral stems because of the time of year that the wedding's going to be, or are you more? I know the color palette of this event, so I think that like how do you brainstorm on what stems I guess you're going to incorporate into a function?
Yeah. I mean, seasonal flowers are, typically fresher and more vibrant because they are harvested at their peak.
Hmm.
So this would result like on a longer lasting arrangement and better quality overall.
Hmm.
I mean, I would say because it could be the case where you have a bride that she loves, I don't know, peonies, but
Hmm.
maybe by the time she's getting married, peonies are not going to be you know in season. So you could find yourself like navigating through like basically giving them options. But I would say like plan early. Early planning allows you to make informed choices and secure
Yeah.
the best seasonal flowers. And this also gives you an ample time to source the flowers and plan the arrangements. uh,
Hmm.
and I would say, yeah, that's, and you also have to be flexible. If you're like set on a specific flower that's not in season, consider alternatives
Hmm.
that might be in season, and that way you can achieve maybe a similar look,
Yeah.
or open up the possibilities to a new design that might lead you to something beautiful and unexpected.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like that also boils down to, Johnny, at least in my opinion, if someone's going to work with someone like your studio, also respecting to a certain level the creative process.
Yeah.
Obviously, you are the expert in this field. So I think flexibility, like you mentioned, is so important because that's also building a relationship, allowing your vendor, who is obviously very skilled in what they do, to
Yeah.
come to the table with a creative option for you.
Yeah.
What is, I'm curious, like when you're working with like new couples and they're onboarding with you, like what does the creative journey even look like in your office? Is it more like brides coming to you with pictures and being like, I want this, or like, how does that work? How do you sort of like execute a project from like start to finish in that way?
Yeah, I mean, usually it's pretty simple. We start
Mhm.
with the design meeting. They would
Mhm.
either come to our office, or maybe we meet at the venue, or maybe at the planner's office. So yeah, that day, we start brainstorming and talking about ideas and possibilities and color
Mhm.
palettes and design elements, and maybe the accents of the wedding. And it's all about brainstorming and putting all of the ideas on the table.
Mhm.
After that, we usually give it a turnaround time of 2 weeks for us to present a preview
Mhm.
of what we call a design deck or a proposal.
Mhm.
uh, and then, yeah, we present the bride with a preview of the design deck, which is,
Mhm.
it's very visual. We do like digital renderings showing, all the flowers we're going to be using, the
Mhm.
elements like candle holders, and, all things decor related.
Yeah.
And also some reference pictures so we can like validate that, rendering. Because sometimes with renderings, the problem is that they might end up looking either too flat, or it's digital. And I would
Mhm.
say 90% of our clients are very visual, so they like to
Yeah.
see what they're gonna get. So yeah, we like to have that reference picture to like validate that.
Mhm.
After that, I would say, if you're ready to move forward, we would send over a contract for
Sure.
approval, and then that's where we finalize the design deck and send it over again. Uh,
Mhm.
and I always say to my client, we're flexible. So if you feel there's something you don't like, or something that you might like to change along the way, we will happily do so. We just want you to
Mhm.
be comfortable and happy
Yeah.
with, the final product.
Yeah, 100%. I love that because I feel like a lot of brides will start the journey maybe like a year plus out. And
Yeah.
then during the process, are either attending social functions or they have a friend of
Yeah.
theirs that
Oh
also
yeah.
maybe they want to come
The
with that.
first proposal is never the last.
Yeah,
Never. It
it
starts
never.
evolving, and then at the end of the day you end up having something completely different but beautiful. So yeah,
Yeah.
you have to be open to that too. And I always tell my clients like I'm flexible. Like I just want you to be happy. And also, having, that, the renderings, it helps everybody. It helps
Yeah.
them, it helps me. So I know what I have to present the day of the event. Once
Yeah.
it's approved, I'm like, I tell my people, guys, we have to make this work. Like, do you see
Yeah.
this? This is what we have to deliver.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, it's pretty interesting, but I would say it's very simple.
Yeah.
It's simple, but it's fun. We get creative. I have like a big desk, and we all start like brainstorming and putting ideas on the tables and like candle holders and
Mhm.
vessels, and it's fun. But yeah,
Yeah.
it
And it
always
should
starts with the design meeting.
Yeah, and it totally should be. I love that you make it actually such a simple steps and processes just to get there because otherwise with brides, I know that there's a ton of other vendors that you're chatting with and trying to
Yeah,
figure out and you want to be able to lean on someone. In my opinion, I love brides that are also hands in involved in the
yeah,
design. And then I'm also okay if brides are like, hey, listen, I trust obviously based on his
yeah,
portfolio that he gets it and he can also carry that through.
yeah.
Is there like an ideal sort of like design relationship that you like to have or is it really just whatever it is it is?
Honestly, I would say I enjoy both. I
Yeah.
love when they fully, trust you and, they tell you like, hey, I trust you, you do what you got to do, and then you
Mhm.
present it to them and they love it. But I also love when they know what they want.
Yeah.
Uh, and they know what they're expecting from you. So I think,
Mhm.
uh, you learn how to, enjoy both
Yeah.
scenarios.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I think you almost like have to.
Yeah.
The rendering part of it, I'm just curious, like if you have the rendering, do you feel like that kind of takes, because I know like what is it? Years ago or even now, people do what we call design display meetings or design
Yeah.
mock-ups where you would like come in and like get maybe a sample of the centerpiece and things like that. Do you feel like that's going away and most people are kind of happy with just renderings because it's such a good
Well, yeah,
likeness?
no, honestly, for us at the very beginning, we only did digital renderings, but for some reason, I feel we're going back to doing live table sets, like with, the client, and
Mhm.
I think I've learned on, like to enjoy that too, because by the time I have to get hands-on and start, the production for any event, I know what I'm like. It's not that I didn't know what I was doing, but I'm more than prepared because I already did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we do either or both. Like we really like to present them with the digital version because I
Mhm.
feel that's a great step for them to like trust us and understand our vision. And
Yeah.
then if they require us to do a live table set, like a table mock-up, we will
Mhm.
also like happily do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've done both. Mostly, I would say digital renderings, but we can
Sure.
do both. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. And
yeah,
sometimes it's like, I know a lot of couples that we work with don't even live in the state of Florida. So it's like sometimes it's just the challenge of even be able to physically get
yeah,
them in the office or to the floral
yeah.
studio to be able to have that. So I love the fact that you do renderings. How far does your office take the design? I'm curious. Like, for example, do you like also get involved with like talking to the lighting director that's going to be incorporating like lighting into the ballroom? Or if we're bringing furniture in, like, do you kind of want to see what that looks like? How involved are you in those other
Yeah.
layers?
It all depends on what we are hired for because we can
Sure.
maybe only do floral design, but at the same time I would say we get very involved with the step by step and like all the
Mhm.
things because I it's for me it's all about the full picture.
Yeah.
Because of course I'm bringing florals, and then this other company is bringing light in, and then this other company is bringing pipe and drape. But at the end, we all have to look, great, like collectively.
Yeah.
So I would say I get very involved. We get very involved with the design part, and so many things could happen the day of the event. that you didn't even plan. Maybe you plan for yellow uplighting, but you get there and it doesn't look good on your flowers. So you should, change it and make it work. So I think, yeah, I tell my people all the time, make it work. We have to make it
Yeah.
work.
Right.
That's like my yeah, the
Yeah,
right
I
way,
love that.
making it
I love
work.
that. Yeah, you got to. I mean, that's in the industry. We're here. We're the dream makers.
Yeah, and like if I'm like, we should have a reality show like the industry collectively, because there's so
Oh yeah.
much stuff that happen that the guests don't see, but it's just so, like, oh my God.
I
But at
know.
the end
I
of the day, you just
definitely
laugh
have.
about it, and we love what we do. So yeah.
I know. I feel like I want to have a podcast of like a round table where nobody discloses names, but we
That
go
would be
like everyone
great.
says like their craziest story.
Yeah. No, you should do that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds
100%. Because, in the industry, for brides that are listening, I mean, at the end of the day, this is why you hire seasoned pros because we're joking. Obviously, there's stuff that goes down, but you want someone that has been in the trenches before, that knows how to act if something happens. Like if you
yeah.
have to move your event inside, like they're collectively working with the rest of your team to make sure that it's a seamless execution. Because day of the event, you're in hair and makeup. I'm not going to come in your room and be like, oh, well, what do you think about this and
Yeah.
this? I'm
Yeah.
going to Johnny and being like, all right, what are we going to
Yeah.
do? We're
What are we
talking to
gonna
this person. So you got to have a really good production team. I don't want to pigeonhole also your team, Johnny. So I know we've been talking about Floral a lot, but obviously your team does have the capability of doing full design,
Yeah.
right? Like maybe
Yeah.
share on that a little bit for brides that also are looking for working maybe with your team for more than just
Yeah.
Floral.
Well, as of now, we have 6 designers, and that's including, me and Jacob.
Hmm.
And I would say it's 5 to 6 people that they should like help us with, like doing the heavy work, because
Hmm.
usually, and I'm gonna give you a little bit of the backstory. When we first started, Jacob and I, we used to do it all, like
Hmm.
proposals, prepping the flowers, prepping the vases, cleaning the glasses, setting up, striking, and by the end of the day, we would be like exhausted,
Yeah.
and we were missing the fun, like of and the whole purpose, because we were basically working on every single aspect. So I would say the last year our team has been growing, and I have designated people to do certain things that I was doing before, and it's been life changing because now we enjoy the fun part for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I love my office and I love like sitting with my computer and creating proposals, but I like to be in the back, creating. So it's something that, it took a long time to get there, but we finally, I think we got to a point where we're comfortable now. So yeah, our team is, we have 6 designers and 5 to 6 other people, depending on the magnitude of the event. I would have more, but the rest would literally do anything. Like they clean the glasses, they prep the vases, they receive the orders. I firmly believe that you have to do it all, and
Hmm.
it doesn't matter how long you've been like in the business, or maybe how long you've been the owner, or whatever position you have. When you are in this industry, and I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure you're gonna agree with me, you have to do it all. Like you have to be, I would say, in every position. Like it doesn't matter like how much time you've been doing it. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it's so important. That's part of being a good leader too, is like if
yeah,
something goes down, like you have to be able to step in and pick up the slack where it's needed. And
yeah,
anyone in your, in that production team should be able to do that. And I totally agree with you. And it was so funny because when I first started in this industry, a very long time ago, I interned with a florist who is still operational today. He's fabulous at what he does. But I interned with him and I really got a firsthand experience of like the amount of time, energy, effort, prep work, I mean, true labor that goes into these events. It's next level for sure. So, Johnny, just curious on any like tips or advice for couples, any brides out there that are listening, do you have like just any like departure information that you would give them for anyone that's maybe just starting the design journey or common mistakes people make, just any knowledge that you can like bestow on to them would be supportive.
well, my tips for couples starting their floral planning, I would say begin your floral planning as early as possible, because this is going to allow you to, explore plenty of options and secure your preferred florist. And next one, I would say set a budget. That's very important. Um, I would say think about the overall style and theme of your wedding. It could be classic, romantic, rustic, modern, but that's very important. So, by the time you get to your design meeting, you at least have an idea of, what you are expecting the day of your wedding. And also, I would say it's very important to have either a mood board or a Pinterest board with floral inspiration that aligns with your vision. And this is going to help communicate your preference to your florist and ensure, everyone is on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are my recommendations.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's great. And I love that because really for brides that are listening too, like you don't have to have an exact vision, but piggybacking off what Johnny's saying, it's have a sense of direction of even just what you like or don't like to get an understanding of what resonates so that the professional can take that and provide honest feedback on even what they're seeing or being able to have a conversation piece. Because if you just start with having no sense of direction, it can be a little bit difficult to like just completely come to fruition. Unless, of course, you have an unlimited budget and you're
yeah,
just like wanting them to be creative. We can all do that, of
yeah,
course,
absolutely.
for sure. Well, how, Johnny, can people get in touch with the Floral Way? Tell us your social handles, all the deets.
Yeah, so our Instagram handle is the Floral Way Events, and our email is info at the Floral Way Events with an S at the end .com. And yeah, those are I would say, the best ways to reach out to us. Mostly emails, but yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Johnny, for your
Thank
time and
you. Thank you
insights.
for
So
having me.
appreciate it. Really
Thank you.
appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.